Welcome to your $1,400 stimulus check and stimulus package update. We have a ton to talk about. We have complications with the Paycheck Protection Program. We're going to cover everything we know as of right now, especially with those gross receipts and things like that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about where we're at with the stimulus bill right now. We're going to talk about some potential contention with the stimulus bill. And we're going to talk about an executive order that President Biden has signed. So starting right off, Biden's team has kind of hit the ground running in the last month, attempting to get as much done as they possibly can in the shortest period of time as possible. They're just looking to take as much action as possible. So one of Biden's advisors had a leaked memo, and in that memo, he said, the bottom line is the country is looking for action. And we can see that they're trying to just make bills happen, do all these executive orders, do everything they can just to show that they're taking action, I suppose. Biden has also been battling some issues against those who are against the stimulus bill. So major points of contention are, of course, minimum wage, the state and local government funding, that $350 billion in funding that's a part of that $1.9 trillion bill, and the total package size, the total size of nearly $2 trillion are the major points of contention. But there are some more minor parts of the stimulus bill that are being argued by moderates and conservatives, as well as argued that they're not as essential to fighting the pandemic. And I believe it's important to present both sides here. I try to stay as non-biased and factual as possible, so it's important to present both sides. So some of the issues that they see in this stimulus bill, now that we actually have the stimulus bill to look at, the actual text, the individual breakdowns of items that are receiving funding. Some of those items include $270 million to art and endowment funding, $200 million for museums and libraries, $100 million for a Silicon Valley transit system, $50 million in family planning funding, and $1.5 million for the Seaway International Bridge that connects New York and Canada. So there's a lot of moderates and conservatives who just aren't happy about these individual line items that, it's like 10 billion here, 100 billion there, that could potentially pare down the package size a little bit because they can say this isn't really pandemic related. Senator John Kennedy voiced his criticism on this, and I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said. He basically said he's concerned that the mantra is that they can't spend too much and that anyone can spend money. The point is to spend it effectively. I mean, it's hard to argue that. From here, there are 150 top business leaders, like some of the biggest businesses in the country, who signed a letter to the Biden team expressing support for the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. These leaders include the CEO of Google, AT&T, BlackRock, IBM, Lyft, and many, many more, 150 of them. So this group believes, quote, this is part of the letter, previous federal relief measures have been essential, but more must be done to put the country on a trajectory for a strong, durable recovery. So they are all for getting more stimulus passed, but we have to remember there actually is a strong incentive for big business to want consumers and the general people to have more money. The more available spending money the individual consumer has, the more these huge businesses will receive in funding. So we have to remember, we hear the mantra, if we stimulate the economy, it'll help small business. But we also have to remember most money goes to big business. So big business wants stimulus to happen. The House is also still expecting to pass their stimulus bill this Friday. There is still some contention, though, with the two Democratic senators on minimum wage and the total package size. The minimum wage is the real point of contention, though. And it seems to me like it must not be a deal breaker, but they're just kind of like begrudgingly, like, I guess we're not the biggest fans of this, but I don't know. It kind of seems like they don't want to be the ones against this bill. Of course, I can't project exactly, how they feel. Schumer was also asked how he manages an evenly split Senate. This was just kind of funny. He answered by holding up his flip phone, which I thought was Schumer kind of cracks me up. There's actually a really funny video on YouTube of him from years ago, and it was the house that he lived in. At least then, maybe he lives there now, and it was just a mess. It was just like complete bachelor pad in Washington. It's worth looking up. This video is sponsored by Policy Genius. Policy Genius reached out to me and said, you know what, Max, we like what you're doing over there on your channel. We'd like to sponsor a video, and I'm already well aware of them, so here we are. It's the shortest month of the year, which means you have slightly less time to check off your February to-do list. And I know it feels like my to-do list is never ending, but luckily Policy Genius can help you cross off two big items with ease. You can compare life insurance quotes and save 50% or more in the process, and then that way you can put more cash to the things that you love. In my case, I'm probably going to put a little bit more cash towards supports my cats, if we're being completely honest. So let's check out the website so you can see how easy to use this marketplace is to get a policy. Easy, especially compared to anywhere else. I think it's so important to have a safety net with life insurance because I have loved ones who depend on me and I want to make sure that they're taken care of. So all you have to do is hit get started. And again, Policy Genius is a marketplace that handles the paperwork, scheduling, and negotiating with the insurance company on your behalf for free. You just click the criteria here that applies to you, click find my free quotes, enter in some personal information, and you're good to go. So you can save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius, and you could save $1,300 or more per year by using Policy Genius to compare life insurance policies. So all you have to do is visit policygenius.com/maxmaher and start saving today. All right, now let's do some paycheck protection news, or I guess potentially lack of news. So I've been monitoring this paycheck protection situation as close as humanly possible. I'm checking the SBA website, I'm checking with the lenders I work with, I'm checking everywhere I possibly can. Like, what is the update here so I can know for myself, and more importantly, let everyone know who follows this channel, because I know there's a lot of people sitting there just like on the edge of their seat. What should I do? And honestly, there's not much. We were expecting to receive some notice yesterday on Wednesday, but there really wasn't anything as of yet. Now, something I wanted to point out, the big changes here that we're looking for answers on, the biggest one is the gross income criteria. So in the past, you calculated your PPP loan based on your net income divided by 12 times 2.5. Now, we're looking at a change that would take it from net income to gross income, which is much higher for most people. Gross income divided by 12 times 2.5, which is a huge difference for most people. And the other major change is that for the next 2 weeks, only businesses with 20 or fewer employees will have their loans processed. But that's already in effect. Now, I've seen some debate back and forth on this gross income rule. I've seen some other YouTube channels that claim we actually don't even know it's gross income yet. However, I wanted to prove that to be incorrect because we have this from the SBA that you can see Schedule C filers will be able to calculate their PPP loan amount using the gross income on line 7. So that is confirmed. This is from the SBA. You can see it's watermarked from the SBA. That part's at least confirmed. The thing that's not confirmed is when this goes into effect. Now, we thought it was going to be Wednesday. I've seen in multiple articles that they're saying that that will become effective mid-March. However, I cannot for the life of me find any actual SBA guidance or White House guidance or official guidance that says mid-March. So maybe you can help me. If you've seen any official guidance on that, please send it my way, but I have yet to see that anywhere that it's going to start mid-March. If that is the case, we might be sitting on kind of a waiting period here until that goes into effect. And if that were to go into effect, they would have to extend the deadline for applying for the PPP loan, because as of right now, it's scheduled for the end of March. So a few questions that we're still not clear on, just so you feel a little bit better in case you feel like you're out of the loop. That way you know that I'm still out of the loop. Everyone else who's listening is still out of the loop. Here's some questions we're still not clear on. What if you already applied using net income? Are you going to be able to go back and appeal that amount and receive a larger amount later? Now, I've seen articles saying both, so I don't want to give one answer or the other because it's kind of up in the air right now. It seems to me like it would be very weird if there was no appeal process unless they ran out of funding, but it doesn't seem like they're going to run out of funding. So we don't know 100%. We also don't know when these changes are going to be made. Is it happening this week? Is it happening next week? Is it happening mid-March? Unfortunately, we don't have the answer to that yet. Also, a question we don't know the answer to is, does a solo operator need to show that 25% reduction in revenue still? This one, I'm pretty sure is a no for solo operators. I'm like 80-90% sure it's a no, but we're still not 100% certain on that. Now, I also wanted to address a few issues that I've seen mentioned several times with the Womply Fast Track application, which is the 5-minute application for the PPP. It seems like about 90% of people are able to just go through this with flying colors, no issue whatsoever. They apply, they're good to go. Other people are having a few common various issues. The first one is that it freezes at various points. And again, the link for that application is in the description. It freezes at various points. The suggestion that I received from the live support at Womply here is to first try a different browser. If that doesn't work, screenshot what's going on, send it to support at womply.com. Next is trouble uploading documents. They're aware of this issue. I've talked to their head of customer support here. They're aware of that issue and they're working on it. If it doesn't work for you, again, first try a different browser. Try using a PC if you're using a phone. Just try out a few different options and it should work, but they're aware that it's happening to some people. Also, I've literally been on and off calling support on your guys' behalf like multiple times to help figure out these issues. So if you appreciate that, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe, because I'm calling customer support even though my loan is already submitted. Another issue people are running into is their income is below the threshold. Now, for this, unfortunately, there's not a solution for the moment. If your income's below the threshold, especially if it's negative net income, there's not much you can do because you're supposed to have positive income. If it's just barely positive, you can either do the normal application, which is through that same link, or you can wait until we can use gross income for the calculations. If you have a negative net income, you have to wait until the gross income calculation, and the Womply application will be updated as soon as that guidance comes in. This is really important. I've seen a lot of people say they haven't updated this yet. What the heck? Well, the guidance isn't official yet. Once it's official, they will update the application. Everyone with negative net income will be able to then apply and get thousands of dollars in funding. And that's it as far as the issues that I've heard. This is a completely new program, a new application. So of course there's a few hiccups and kinks, and they've also just made it so automated that, you know, there's bound to be a couple, at least small issues, but I'm happy to see that most people are able to go through with no issues whatsoever. And one last thing I wanted to talk about here is yesterday, President Biden signed an executive order. What this executive order did was address supply chain issues in the US. Basically, we're running into an issue where things like semiconductors, automobiles, various precious metals are having issues supply chain wise where final end products aren't being able to be built to the standard that they want. So he signed an executive order that is going to have his team look into these issues and then spend about $37 billion to make sure these supply chain issues are resolved. And then that way we can manufacture more in the United States. So that's going to do it for today. I would like to thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have a profitable day.